Double check.
We're going to call a meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads for a moment of silence for our military and first responders who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you. You're right. I wasn't excited. First on the agenda is the commission board appointment interviews and appointments. Unless there's an objection by council, I would like to start at D and go up because there are multiple people. The same person is in more than one spot. So if we can start with the zoning hearing board alternate. It's a 3-year term expiring December 31st of 2027. And Daniel, you're the only person for that appointment, and you're eminently qualified with your law background, and zoning pretty much is all about the law. So I would make a motion that Daniel
Hagen,
thank you very much, be appointed to the zoning hearing board alternate. Any questions for Daniel? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Without any questions then, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you volunteering. Next is the Property Maintenance Appeals Board. It's on a 2-year term expiring December 31st. David Moister is on as, and Doug Brent has also expressed an interest in, he's currently an alternate, and he wanted to be a sitting member of the appeals board. So those would be the 2 people.
So it says Sharon Sharp, what's that mean?
She doesn't live in the borough.
Oh.
So we removed her name. She had asked to do it, but she's not qualified. So barring any questions, go by name and take a vote on each, or what?
Someone should move, someone be appointed, and if motion passes,
Okay.
and otherwise you go to the next person.
All right, I'd entertain a motion for Doug Brent to step up and be the sitting board, or a sitting board member on the Property Maintenance Appeals Board.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
My vote is aye.
Then we put David, vote to put David in the alternate seat?
It turns out we have to do that next month because of the, if you can put that on the agenda for next month then, because it's not listed as an alternate. So we'll do that next month. Okay. Next is Southern York County Regional Recreation Commission. It's a 3-year term expiring December 31st of 2027. We have 3 people who have applied. Andy. Okay. And Keith Shocker. Keith. And John Peeler. So we have two of the three. Does anyone have any questions for either Andy or Keith? Okay, I would accept a nomination.
I move we nominate Andy McCauley.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Andy, thank you very much. Thank you too, Keith. It's, we will keep your letter on file, and thank you very much. And finally, there's the Planning Commission. It's an appointment of a 4-year term expiring December 31st. We need to take Daniel off for consideration since he took the position for zoning hearing board. We have Seth Whaler, who has sent in a message that his family has the flu. Jean. Okay, and Wayne. Okay. They're all very qualified for the position, and but there is only one position. So, is there any questions for the candidates? I had one, Seth. You had on your resume about sustainable land development. Oh, he's not here. Okay, sorry.
I asked myself not here.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I guess we'll just start at the top, and I would entertain a motion.
I move we nominate Seth Wheeler.
Second.
Any further discussion?
You guys are gonna nominate the guy who's not even here?
I'm sorry?
You're gonna nominate the guy who's not even here?
Yes, thank you.
We have nominations. We have information for it.
Yeah, we have his resume and his credentials, so.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion?
I'll nominate Gene, is it Soik?
Soiki.
Soiki.
Okay. Finish one before we go to
Yeah.
the next one?
Yeah, I think that's what you should do. So you should recognize that there is an interest in another candidate as well when you vote, so that you know if you vote for the first motion, then that will end it at that point. If you vote no, then that keeps it open so you can have another motion for a different person if that's what you want to do.
Okay, thank you.
It's your choice on who you're selecting, and that's how you would make it.
Okay.
Did I get a second
Oh,
to my motion?
Well done. Don't we have to vote on the first one?
Yeah. We have to vote on
yeah, let's,
Oh, all right, okay.
so the motion on the table is to appoint Seth Wheeler to the Planning Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No?
My vote is aye. And that completes
What was
the,
the vote?
I think it was two no and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, was Seth being looked at to do the civil patrol
No,
for the
not
department?
that, no.
Why-
We have,
You
no,
were gonna reach out to him, I thought, you said?
it wasn't Seth, it was, there, Adam is currently in the position, and then Danny was gonna reach out to Donna.
Okay.
That completes the commission and board appointment interviews and appointments. Thank you for everybody who expressed interest. Okay, next up is public comment on agenda items.
Second to get situated here. I did bring you paperwork per my statements made last month. My name is Devin Taylor. And we're going here to address the proposed minutes before we get to voting on them. Samuel Adams once said, "It is in the interest of tyrants to reduce the people to ignorance and vice. They cannot live in any country where virtue and knowledge prevail." Wonder how Mr. Adams would feel today as he watches ambassadors of and for the people work so hard to keep those people blind and misinformed. I'm here tonight to provide a copy of the complaint I intend to submit to the District Court in Harrisburg later this week. I wish for these documents to be included in the minutes and made available for public inspection. Enclosed, you will find a copy of the amended complaint, the alleged violations of pertinent law, original complaint that lists Andrew Bobby, Dave Reisdorf, Ryan Ross, and Dennis Sarpin with exhibits 1 and 2, and additional supportive evidence of the year's worth of administrative mismanagement that some of you are guilty of, as far as I'm concerned. The following allegations are being made against this agency and some of its members. Title 18, Section 4103, fraudulent destruction, removal, or concealment of recordable instruments. Title 18, Section 4702, threats and other improper influence in official and political matters. Title 18, Section 4910, tampering with or fabricating physical evidence. Title 18, Section 4911, tampering with public records or information. Title 18, Section 5110, contempt of General Assembly. Title 53, Section 3102, acceptance of services at more favorable terms. Title 53, Section 3103, gift or promise of thing of value to influence political support. Title 65, Section 706, minutes of meetings, public records, and recording of meetings. Title 65, Section 710.1, public participation. Title 5, United States Code for open meetings, Section 552B. Those are the brief consolidated allegations that I've made against this agency and some of its members. Again, I'm going to provide Mr. Schaefer, our administrator / manager, with an entire stack of this. The court is under no obligation to amend my complaint when I file for motion for leave to amend this complaint later this week. But you're about to vote on minutes that say that I just came in here and made an unrelated comment and I just wanted some answers. No, I told you, all of you, last month that I was going to deliver this complaint if I did not receive the answers. So here's your complaint, and from this point on out, I will talk to you in court. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Have your attorney talk to me. Do not address me directly, Mr. Bobby. Thank you for your time.
I didn't know George Washington was still there.
Oh, sorry. Take your pill. Okay, any other public comment?
Can I have one of those wigs?
Sorry?
Can I have one of those
I left mine at home.
wigs? Beats what I have.
Brunel has one you can borrow.
It's an original. Patty?
Patty Worsbacher, only here with the Lions Club. Just basically have a few questions. I know we ordered those round signs, and Jake, you have them, the lion things. Lions are just wondering if you guys are going to put up the post, or if you want us to do it to place them, or what's the story with that?
We'll take care of that in springtime.
Okay, that's fine.
Still waiting to
Yep.
hear back from other
Yep.
entities that had
Okay.
signs as well.
Next one, Bob Warner said that the bench was in, that we had ordered.
The bench is in.
Did we get an invoice? Bob was wondering if we got an invoice. I didn't see one.
Yeah, I gave Bob an invoice.
To Bob
Yeah.
Dixon or Bob Warner?
No, Bob Warner.
Okay, because he said he didn't have it.
He wasn't in his office, but I gave it to the secretary, she said he was gonna get it.
Okay, all right, because
So I'm
Bob
assuming
came out
he
because he
still
had
has it.
surgery, so
Yeah.
I'll check with him. All right, okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Did you have something else, Mike, or just the way?
Sorry,
Oh, no, you're fine, you're fine. Man after my own heart. You're fine. Any other public comment, please? Okay. Chris? Is here? No, Chris is not here, okay. Okay, approval of minutes for the regular meeting held January 13th. I would entertain a motion.
So moved for January 13th, 2025.
Second.
Any corrections, discussions? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Approval of treasurer's report pending audit, I would entertain a motion.
So moved pending audit for January 2025.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor of approving the treasurer's report pending audit? Oh, I'm sorry.
I sent in a couple of questions
Oh,
on
I'm sorry.
the amount of repairs, over 9,000, 17 repairs on vehicles, and you sent me,
Erica, your mic.
oh, I'm sorry. I sent in a question on repairs, like 17 repairs for vehicles totaling over 9,000. Sent me an explanation. One of them was a damaged vehicle by a snowplow. What happened?
It was actually one of our employees that damaged another employee's vehicle during the snow removal in the shop over here.
How bad? For $2,000. I mean, what
It was
happened?
basically I believe it was the rear
Yeah,
tail
it's a
light.
rear
and
tail
rear
light,
quarter
and
panel.
had to be some painting. Unfortunately, body work is expensive. You don't have a.
It doesn't take much for $2,000.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily it wasn't any more than that.
Yeah.
You can't get another percent with that.
And just in regards to like, you know, oil filters, air filters, those sorts of things, is that something that our public works is able to do to our vehicles instead of going?
That's why a lot of that's us. Actually, the majority of those expenditures are our employees purchasing the supplies and doing the work themselves.
So they are.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a couple of things, yeah, obviously, we don't have an inspection license, so we'll have to do inspections at another garage. But for the most part, unless it's something that's, get into some heavy mechanic labor, then we're able to handle that in-house.
And the other question was the parade for $590 and the Veterans Picnic for $500. Those don't, that's not a part of rec, that comes from borough funds, or the general fund?
Just, there's always been funds, general funds utilized for those two events outside of rec funds, just as an allocation for a community event. So basically, the parade was us just purchasing supplies, candy, lights.
Which parade?
That was the December parade, the Gill Ice Parade.
Did council vote on that?
The vote was not to, the council did vote, but it was not to allocate funds directly to the parade. This is just us as a borough supporting the event.
Shouldn't we have voted on using $590 for that parade? Andy?
I don't believe, I mean, it's well below any cutoff for, and we have traditionally spent money for candy, and that money has come out of the general fund.
I thought that come out of Mary Ann's rec fund.
That never did. It
Yes,
always,
you did it?
no. It always, you can go back and look, but it came out of the general fund for, actually the prizes for the floats came out too, but there weren't any prizes associated with the December parade.
The July parade.
Yeah, the 4th of July parade, I know that went for candy and.
I don't think it was this December parade, but the one before. Didn't we vote for like $200? $250, wasn't it something like that to
It
vote?
was, yeah, I think so. I don't think we gave anything for
But if we vote for $250, why did we vote for $250?
That was a direct donation. This was candy that our people threw. I mean, it's just it's literally hard candy that they threw from like public works trucks and.
$600 more?
We purchased some additional signage too to help out with traffic direction and getting people in line up in the developments as well, to try to aid in not having such a mess down through with people loading in as well.
I have one question, Andy. The cloud permit, is that an annual, or, I hope that's not every month?
No, that was a one-time.
Okay, I was just wanted to
Yeah,
check,
that
because
was
that's
the setup and the licensing.
very good. Okay.
Anything else? Okay, again, pending audit, approval of the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Vote is aye. Stormwater channel, is there any updates until the weather comes back?
Correct.
Legal analysis of code of ordinances, that's still in progress?
Right, we should have that ordinance for next month.
Paul Smith Library. I gave a report, I think, last month, and I'm going to give you an update. Buck Buchanan has been trying to get a meeting with York County Library and that meeting is set up for the 13th of February at 7 o'clock, but currently there are no municipal members invited to that meeting at the request of the York County Library System. We're trying to change that. So, as of right now, as we speak, there's no one allowed other than the library boards themselves. We received I would take questions on that, but that's all I have. I can't really answer anything more than that. We received a letter from the Paul Smith Library, and apparently, even though we had said that we were going to wait to disperse any money until we found out if we were going to be a member or a branch, Shrewsbury Borough went ahead and gave them the $17,500, which they've given them every year. So that check was included, and they are going to give them another $17,500 in June, but I think they're going to put the brakes on that until we find out what's going to happen with the library itself. They are asking that we come up with a donation for 2026. So that'll probably come sometime towards the middle of the year. I do think that we should come up with an amount that we're going to give them, and I would request that that would be put on the agenda for next month with a couple of caveats. One being that Paul Smith Library doesn't decrease their hours, and two, that they retain their member status and not become a branch library. So that would be my suggestion. There is a list of questions, I think I sent them out to council, that the library boards have come up with to talk to York County Library about at the meeting on the 13th. And I will send an email to council as soon as I find out if we're going to be allowed as municipal people to attend. And that is all I had about the library. Does anyone have any questions that I may or may not be able to answer?
Do you think it's appropriate to place it on the agenda for next month? We have to take for them to get this straightened out?
I think that,
I don't know if it's that one or
this thing. There. Still works.
not. Just like the old TV.
Yeah. Anyway, to answer your question, I think it's appropriate because I think it's important that we show Paul Smith our support, and we show support that we're going to give them to York County Library if they make the proper, what we feel are the proper decisions. So, and it certainly does not obligate in the lease New Freedom Borough Council to disperse the funds unless and until they come back and say, yeah, they're gonna stay a member and we're not gonna decrease their hours.
Yeah, because I think council, one of the other meetings, agreed to not do anything until we get this settled, correct?
Well, that'll still be the caveat.
Very good.
We'll not be
Good.
doing anything until this is settled. Yes. I broke it up into two pieces, but yeah, that's a good summary statement. We won't do anything until York County Library System and Paul Smith Library come to a resolution.
That makes sense.
We had that for next month. Discuss donation amounts, what we're gonna do to support.
Do you know what Mason Dixon's doing, just out of curiosity? Have you heard anything about?
Well, they're in this whole thing too. I mean, the meeting actually is going to be at Mason-Dixon Library.
Okay.
So I mean, they're part and parcel of the whole thing. We're sister libraries and we're both in the same position. We're both being told, I say we, it's the royal we.
Yeah.
But the libraries are being told that they are going to both have their hours decreased. I would like to say, at least so it doesn't come as a surprise later, Buck Buchanan has been, I've got a lot of respect for him at this point, but he's been going and digging into their finances, and in
This is the county.
this is the county library funding. And in 2022, they broke with a long-standing tradition of being in the black, and their budget was $1.7 million in the hole. In 2023, it was $1.2 million in the hole. And he dug a little deeper and he found out that it was all in operating expenses, and then he dug deeper than that and found that the majority of the over $1 million for both years was in professional fees and services.
And who's?
I have nothing else to say about that. Yeah, I mean, someone's gonna have to, peel the onion and figure out.
They don't get an audit, they don't have an audit.
Is that an open records request?
That's how we got it.
No, I mean to delve into it deeper
Yeah.
as to, okay,
Yeah.
what professional
Yeah, there's,
services?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, it went from, professional services went from less than $500,000 to 1.7 and 1.1, so more than double, almost triple in,
Is this the county library?
oh, it's actually 4 times, yeah, this is county library. And they report to the commissioners. So probably one of the next steps is going to be to broker a meeting with the commissioners.
I have a question. Shrewsbury Borough and New Freedom Borough jointly support Paul Smith, right?
Yes, yeah, we actually, one of the things that they said in their letter, which I would like to point out, is No, I can't find it. But anyway, actually, New Freedom Borough actually is it was also noted that New Freedom residents make up the highest number of patrons among the 3 municipalities that supports Paul Smith Library. And that would be Shrewsbury Borough, New Freedom Borough, and Shrewsbury Township. So. Any other questions?
Can I ask a
Sure.
question? Just for background, could you tell us what the difference is between being a member versus a?
Sure, that's a really good question, actually. If you are a member, you have your own board. We do not own Paul Smith. Again, the library does not own Paul Smith Library. They lease the ground that it's on. They own the building. So, and Mason-Dixon Library, they actually own the ground and the building. So if they became a branch instead of a member library, then York County Library could come in, not that they would ever even think of doing this, and the idea would never enter their mind to shut down Mason-Dixon Library and sell off the land in the building, but they could. So they're trying desperately to hold on to what the community supported to build a new library there. And I mean, their hours are going to be cut substantially, and they just don't feel they're going to be able to be effective to support the community if they're cut any further.
Yeah, and what are those reductions, by the way? The hours reductions or days, or what's involved?
It's like I think it comes out to about a 20% reduction in hours. Yeah. But the board, individual boards, there would not be a board anymore. The boards would become friends of the Paul Smith Library, and they would still be able to do fundraising, but they would not have any oversight or any say in the running, the actual running, the hours, or anything that has to do with the library.
Do they get funding from the county?
They do, and that funding comes through the York County Library system. It was actually looked to see if the funding could be broken out separately and given by the county to Paul Smith and to Mason-Dixon, and the answer so far has been no. By law, it has to come through the York County Library system. And it's about, I believe it's about $80,000 for Paul Smith, so it's a significant portion of their funding. So if they stay a member, they would continue to get that funding. If they decide to go independent, they would get nothing from York County Library system, not even interlibrary loans. So if you went and wanted to borrow a book from another York County library, they wouldn't do that anymore. They would not have the software, the card catalog software, because that's all owned by York County Library system. They would get no support at all from the library system. So being independent is not a good idea. Staying just the way they are is probably the best idea. They would continue to get money from New Freedom, Shrewsbury Borough, and Shrewsbury Township. They would be able to continue their operations as they have in the past. They would be masters of their own fate, where they can, I mean, right now, they can pull volunteers in to keep the library open. That would all be controlled by York County Library system, and if they said, no, we don't want volunteers messing with the stuff, then we wouldn't be allowed to. The library wouldn't be allowed to.
And the York County Library system is funded by
State and county.
state and counties,
Right.
which would be our county commissioners, correct?
Exactly. And this group, the group that is working on this, has already talked to Doug Hogue?
Doug and Julie, I believe.
Yeah. And, yes, Julie.
Well, and, what's his name, Seth? Scott.
Yeah. So, and also Christian Phillips Hill is involved in this too. So it's a good effort, and I think the libraries are going to fight the good fight, and hopefully they'll come out on the other side with some kind of an agreement that'll keep the library open. Many people use it. Seniors use it. People use it for writing resumes. Homeschool kids use it. It's a lot of support for the community.
Does this come down to the almighty dollar thing?
Well, yeah,
bottom
I
line
kind
is-
of, I keep trying to tongue-in-cheek not say that, but it actually looks like, you know, it looks just like you gotta peel the onion and figure out what's going on, because it just does, something is not right. I've already said that in public, and I've already said that, you know, in an article. And, so the York County Library System doesn't really like me.
But there's no way they're gonna ever have a town hall for this? I know
They're
you're
treating it, and it's, I mean, you maybe can help us out on this, but they're treating it like they're meeting with their libraries. That's why they can exclude even the municipalities, you know, which is really, I just consider that cutting your nose off to spite your face, because they're still gonna ask us for money. They're still gonna ask us for our support, and then, but they're not gonna allow us to participate in but it's, yeah, you would think under the Sunshine Act, there should be something that says, you know, they're spending tax dollars, they should be
Transparent.
having an open meeting. And a town hall actually would be great, because then everybody can go.
We need that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know if Glen Rock Library is a member or a branch?
They are now a branch, so.
But they are closed.
They are closed currently. And the chances, you know, I mean, you could just, I mean, you could connect the dots. I mean, the chances of them reopening are probably pretty slim.
It's terrible.
You said that Paul Smith gets what, 80,000 a year?
I believe, yeah, I'm just
And
talking.
how much does Mason-Dixon get?
Pretty close to that.
So there's $160,000 that if they don't go along with what they want, they're just gonna take $160,000 and put it back in their coffers.
Yeah, but I mean, they do report to the commissioners, and there is some obligation to provide the library services. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Shame.
But anyway, that is an update as to where we are right now.
It's gonna hurt kids. There's kids that rely on that, that don't have the facilities at home to accomplish what they need to do for school.
Well, and what do we say about reading and education and culture? And, you know, what are we telling our kids whenever they see the library shut down?
It's astounding that when this spending took place in 2022 and 3, there wasn't some kind of a safety apparatus installed to question the spending before it happened, right? A governor of some sort.
Well, the other side of that too, though, Mike, is where'd the money come from to cover it?
Yeah.
I mean, they still don't have a big hole out there that's, you know, what, it's almost $3 million. Somebody stepped in and covered it, either the county commissioners or state or somebody. Somebody had to throw some money in that hole.
And what they got out of it.
Yeah, could have been ARPA money, true.
Yeah, I think where they should start is with this $1 million. I think they need to check into that, because that right there, that's ridiculous.
And like I said, Buck is being very impressive in his digging numbers out.
Oh, he can do it.
He's good at that. I think that's all I had. Anything else?
Sorry, the agenda item is to consider additional allocation for next month.
Yeah, to consider an allocation to support Paul Smith Library. And then we can discuss all the bits and grits to it. Okay, new business. Consider authorizing purchase of the truck body for the 2025 Chevy Silverado Lancaster truck bodies in the amount of $29,150.
Just for the council's information, Mr. Schaefer sends me the agenda and all of the attachments and everything. So I looked them over, and I wanted to make sure that this went smoothly and you know, passed without a hitch. But then I looked at the bottom of page 1, and Sure enough, there is a hitch.
Ha,
Wanted to say.
now I know why they, now I know why they didn't let you tell jokes at the seminar.
The hitch is part of the quote, for people who don't have.
Yes, it's a hitch, there is a hitch, a trailer hitch. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
so,
move to include the hitch.
I apologize for all of this. I have a motion to approve
With the hitch.
with the hitch.
I'll second with the hitch.
Okay. Discussion?
Why wasn't this included when we, with the purchase of the truck? Where's this additional money gonna come from?
No, this was all included in the budgeted,
57,000.
well, it's more than that.
No,
That was the purchase of the chassis, this is to outfit the truck. And
I
all
thought that was for the Silverado truck was 50-something thousand.
Correct, that was the purchase of the truck,
And now we're gonna put another 30,000 in the,
right, which was all included in the budget that was approved.
It's
I'm
about,
talking about the annual budget.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah. It has to be done in two parts.
okay, I thought maybe this was in addition to what we had put away for that.
This is back from October of '24 and expired in November. How come we didn't have this during the budgeting time to see, or when we voted on the truck last month?
We had to purchase the vehicle before we can outfit a vehicle that we don't have ownership.
did they extend the bid?
And it was voted on last month, and this is dated October of last year. We voted on the truck last month.
And you want me to clarify?
And it says it's expired.
No, it's still current. That was all checked. It's priced via CoStarz. This price was when we were going through the budget discussions, so the purchase of the truck and to outfit the truck was both included during budget discussions and approved by council in the 2025 budget. So this expenditure has already been authorized. This is just the step to make the purchase and the truck that was approved last month.
And generally, they don't itemize each of these items? They just give us a bulk
Yeah,
price?
They're not gonna break out each one.
Okay.
Again, this is for the truck that only had 70 to 80,000 miles on to replace it. This is the bid for that.
That's correct.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
But, hold
Aye.
on.
Oh, sorry.
Was it put out for bid?
It's CoStarz. That's it's basically, it's a book bid that goes out to all the municipalities, and as long as you pick from a CoStar source, it doesn't have to go out for bid.
State cooperative purchasing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I vote as aye. Okay, consider approval of a resolution authorizing participation in certain activities and events for Rose Fire Company. This is for Rose to,
Motion for resolution number 2025
This is the, I don't think, this would be the first one.
resolution authorizing participation in certain activities and events for Rose Fire Company.
Second.
any questions?
Did we ever do Dallastown before?
They sent a request,
I mean,
no.
that's getting a little,
But again, this is not saying that the members of the fire company are going to participate in all of these or any of these. This is just giving them authorization to do so if they want, based on their workers' comp coverage.
okay, I just didn't ever remember seeing Dallastown.
And it actually doesn't change the workman's comp.
It doesn't change,
It just
no, it's
it just makes sure they're covered.
They're covered, I
if they do.
understand. Yeah, okay.
Right.
I didn't know if that was a request or
That was a
where it
recent request,
came
yes.
from.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I vote is aye. Consider approval of application for payment number 1 for PSI Pumping Solutions. That's for aeration improvements to the wastewater treatment facility in the amount of $209,393. This is the ongoing RK&K upgrade to the aeration and sewage treatment plant. It's already been approved and it's in the budget.
And half of that comes back to us, or part of that comes back to us from Shrewsbury Borough.
Correct.
As well as the grant.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
Andy, there's not a, and I'm asking a dumb question without looking at the contract document. There's not a retainage requirement for that mobilization. I mean, generally, there's an automatic retainage until they get to 50%, and then it goes from 10 to 5.
Yeah, I think on the mobilization, it was 100% because they have so much cost up front to try to order and get things going, yeah.
They have a bond or they have a, it's all bonded, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I just asked if there was a bond.
Yeah, sure, they 100%.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Consider approval of the volunteer service credit roster for 2024 for Rose Fire Company. This is the largest that we've had, which is really kind of encouraging.
Just a reminder on the process, so the departments were required to submit notarized documents that all of these members have met the requirements and accumulated the points to qualify for 2024. Council then considers authorization of this roster, and then the office staff prepares the refunds for their 2024 municipal real estate, as well as sends in the paperwork to York Adams Tax Bureau so that when they claim, they can get back that additional money off of their tax return for income.
Entertain a motion?
Make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Good.
Are we supposed to say so moved? I heard that we're not.
So moved is not a
Yeah,
correct,
you're not supposed to, but
you know, there is no such thing as so moved.
That's fine. Make a motion to approve the volunteer service credit roster for Rose Fire for the year January 1st to December 31st, 2024.
motion,
Second.
second. And is there any other discussion on it?
Do we have notarization that none of these are paid employees? Paid employees are not,
I believe that's,
because I'm seeing a couple here that I think are paid.
that has to, the volunteer hours have to be separate from the paid hours.
Okay, I thought they
For like-
couldn't be
who's paying,
paid,
like,
period.
EMS? You're thinking like EMS?
Well, some of these are EMS.
Yeah, Alex Taylor is.
Alex is EMS. I didn't want to go into names, but I see several here that are EMS.
Yeah.
I
but
just
they-
wanted to make sure they know that if they're paid, they aren't.
Still have to have the volunteer.
Yeah, as long as they
service
have the
above.
volunteer.
Oh,
Yeah.
not according to the ordinance, I don't believe. It says volunteer, not pay, and it excludes any paid.
But you can still, even if you're an EMS, you can still volunteer on the fire center and get the credits for that. And that's what all these are.
You're sure?
I'm 99% positive. I'll verify though, we looked through all the
I
paperwork.
think we should, you know.
Absolutely, yeah, but all of these were earned on the fire side. But we'll verify.
Yeah, I would like to see that happen.
Yeah, none of these are EMS hours. They all say Rose Fire 1 or Glen Rock. or-
Well, Rose Fire Company, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd just like to make sure they know that if you're paid, you don't qualify. Because I know at one time, there were certain people that were on the fire side that also served on EMS, but they were paid EMS, and they did not qualify for the credit.
any other questions?
So I would
Clarify that?
like to see if somebody would make a motion that we table this till next month to make sure.
This is,
You already had a motion. Second, so you have to.
I call the question.
all in favor?
Vote is aye.
Aye.
Opposed? My vote is aye. Okay, solar energy solar energy projects decommissioning bond requirements. This came up last month with the solar arrays going in on Pleasant, and the question was asked is, are there decommissioning bond requirements?
I mentioned when I sent out the packet that I just provided two examples. One was from Dover Township, Section K, which talks about decommissioning and removal. And then actually York County Planning Commission put out a document in April of '22, and they also have a complete section in there about decommissioning bond requirements. And that's on page 9 and 10 of that document. So I'm not sure that we're really going to have a complete discussion about it, but
What's the next step?
it'd have to be an amendment. So I believe in the case of Dover Township, theirs is in their zoning ordinance. So you'd have to determine if it's going to be a zoning ordinance amendment or subdivision land development requirement. I would assume it would go in the zoning ordinance and then be a requirement for future projects should they allow. So there wouldn't really be any way to go back unless there was, they completely withdrew their land development plan and went back through the process to have them go through a decommission bond at this time. I believe Solicitor Jones said that as well.
Haven't they had to refile several times?
They had,
Permits?
well, that's just on the permit side, that's not on the zoning approval side, which was already granted.
Okay, so that wouldn't have anything to do with, okay, if they
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
build by a certain time,
the
then
plan
they've
has
got to
5
go
years.
start from scratch.
Yeah, the plan has 5 years from approval.
Okay.
So they still like 3 years plus. Right?
Yeah.
I think excuse me, they actually own the property though. They actually own.
Does this include, is this commercial or houses or?
No, this would just be for solar energy systems, part of the land
Like
development.
a field of solar.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be if I put solar panels on my house?
Correct.
Okay.
I just have a question with K1. It says presumed to be discontinued or abandoned if no electricity or power is generated by such system for a period of 6 continuous months. This seems to be a bit excessively long if something happens. And we can talk about this, is what's happened in other areas when they're damaged and the owner walks away.
They may be trying to sell it, trying to sell what they have in some amount of time.
Something's damaged and there's a problem and they've walked away, we've got to sit on our hands for 6 months and allow the situation to deteriorate. The homes next door.
How long did we wait for the property on Franklin Street? 6 years. 6 months is nothing, really.
But if
I
there's
don't-
toxic things going into the ground,
But they're land, right?
some, are toxic. Not all solars are not toxic. Some have toxic properties to them. It depends on the type that they are. And I'm just bringing it up that I think possibly that not excessive. If you know, yes, they're trying to sell or they're trying to do something, sure. If there's not a pause to sell and it's a problem, for us to have to wait 6 months seems concerning.
All those items could be discussed as we kind of move through the draft. These are just examples. So, yeah, I mean, any of those numeric values as far as time periods and things will be adjusted.
And as a solicitor, we have a solicitor here to look out for us in things such as this. Why was this not brought up by our solicitor in the process?
You're talking about prior to approval of the,
Well, as you know, if it comes before zoning, you can't change your zoning. You're not sure what you're trying to do, so that's, if it's not in the zoning that they're required to do a decommissioning bond, then, and they meet all the requirements of the zoning, it has to be approved, and it was.
But we should have had something in this. If we're doing it now, the next group that's gonna come along is gonna have to have it. It should have been done before they were allowed to do it.
I'm sure there's other spots too in the zoning that are lacking. I mean, that's, you know, why didn't we catch it?
Because we're not paid attorneys, they are. To look out for the best interests of our borough.
and this is coming from your county planning commission, correct? So this was back in '22, so apparently they didn't think it was that important, am I right? Why didn't they bring that up? Your county planning commission? That it
Yeah, that's a
could be a
good point,
problem?
I just didn't, like, again, the research, this is the first that I saw this document, that there was a model ordinance for solar energy systems. I know, again, using the first example, Dover Township, they had potential lands for this, so I believe that's why they put this in place. I mean, personally, I don't think any of us thought that that land would be utilized as a solar array. So that would be the only comment on that. I don't think anyone anticipated that use, and it's difficult to anticipate any and all uses, but,
We don't have, there is no more property in the borough than anybody.
yeah, it's not
could.
much, but I think we have some examples that maybe we can get something in place and,
Yeah.
you know, if there would be a change for that property in the future, we would have that to fall back on, or if it would be another property, at least it would be in place at that point.
Let me ask a question. Say they go ahead and develop that and turn around in 2 years and sell it. Would we be able to utilize this ordinance then?
I guess it depends on how that
To make sure
section
that we were covered?
would be listed. I would defer to the solicitor.
be a
If you would
new
add a section
owner.
of transfer of ownership, would trigger a decommissioning bond, I guess?
I would not expect that. I would expect the decommissioning bond to be imposed, that requirement to be imposed at the time of the development, you know, not when all the other conditions are set. I don't think transfer of ownership by itself, you know, it wouldn't in any other zoning, you know, change anybody's use or anything like that, so.
I just thought some things are grandfathered in, and like my
Right.
garage burned down. It was grandfathered in that I could still build it on the corner and
Right.
didn't have to go back 35 feet from
That's right. That's
from the alley.
Right, so that
So someone gonna
exception.
draft a zoning amendment, is that the intent,
I
or?
mean, I can take these two and kind of mesh something together and leave it open so council can mark it up at the next meeting.
Yeah, that would be good. Why don't we do that?
If they hit the 5-year time limit, and they haven't done anything, they have to come back for reapproval, and that gives us another bite at that then, right?
Correct. Yeah, at all requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to put it in now. Okay, why don't you you do that for next meeting, and then we'll put in rental time.
Although, yeah, there's quite a few
Yeah.
different notifications.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Numeric values.
Yeah.
And we haven't, I assume we haven't heard anything from them. They haven't said, we were delayed because, but we're still gonna do it, or?
Other than that, I believe the first communication we had afterwards, there was a supply issue, actually getting the panels and everything.
I think it was bad then. A lot of that
Okay.
stuff comes from China.
Yeah.
I'm sure it
Okay, consider authorizing allowance for elected officials to purchase New Freedom Borough logoed apparel.
So I had asked to have an agenda item added, and it looks like Andrew had provided some examples here. Really, this is coming from, over the last couple of years, I've been asked to meet with local scouts, Eagle Scouts, Boy Scouts, and some other groups in the community. I just thought maybe if there's other people who are also meeting with, say, the Lions, say Rotary, whatever, to basically, if you're representing the borough, be representing the borough in a logoed shirt. So I'd like to make a motion to approve elected officials $100 every 2 years for logoed equipment, meaning shirts, whether it's short sleeve, long sleeve, but not to include jackets. There's also some items on the website like, what do you call them, high-vis pants and jackets?
That's
Is that
the employees, yeah, they're
Yeah.
really limited for.
Okay, so basically a shirt or a sweatshirt. We'll put it at that, so. Is that clear enough for a motion?
Yeah, $100 every 2 years.
Yeah.
You said equipment, you mean apparel?
Apparel, yeah, sorry, I should not have used equipment, but yes, apparel.
I think it's a great idea.
To
More
mean
people
shirt.
that see.
I have a motion to allow for $100 every 2 years for borough council members to purchase logoed apparel.
Elected officials.
What did I say? Oh, I said,
You said council.
yeah, I said council,
Elected.
elected officials.
I'll second
Is there any other discussion? Guess that wouldn't preclude it if you wanted to buy an extra shirt out of pocket, right?
I mean, if you're making up the difference or adding to it yourself, I don't see why it would be excluded.
I think employees are one thing, but I think as elected officials, I don't think we should be asking the taxpayer to pay for clothing for us. If we would like to have this, that would be great, but I feel that we should pay for this on our own. It's something that we choose to have.
To reach my pocket enough, and I just think this is something that's not, you know, if I want a shirt, I can afford a shirt, I shouldn't expect somebody else to pay for that shirt that I could probably afford. I don't think that's it.
Any other discussion?
it. Well, in the spirit that Ryan brought it up, he wanted to get it so when he's meeting with somebody, that it'd be identified, he would be identified. So that's the only reason I think it makes sense.
Council members aren't paid anyway. My clothing.
The mirrors.
It cost me more than my $50 to buy one of these, 2 of these. Can I have it embroidered mayor so everybody knows?
I'm gonna call a question. All in favor of authorizing $100 every 2 years for elected officials to buy shirts, please say aye.
It was aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
No.
My vote is no. I didn't catch how many was on.
4 to 3, I think.
4 to 3. I think the motion carries 4 to 3. Okay. Administrative reports, Mr. Solicitor.
Good evening. Dave Jones asked me to, Dave Jones, your regular solicitor, asked me to talk a little bit about a topic of speech at a public meeting. And so what I thought I'd do is share with everyone tonight what I shared with a few people who attended a recent seminar that our law firm put on that issue. What I did was I discussed the case in which a fellow named Daniel Galena was removed from a public meeting because of the fact that he was engaging in personal attacks and interrupting the meeting and that type of thing. He filed a lawsuit. The Third Circuit, which is the court in federal court immediately below the Supreme Court, eventually wound up with the case. And they issued some guidance to public officials and to the general public about First Amendment rights and Sunshine Law rights. And so that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. So with respect to the First Amendment, the court pointed out that there are two types of public forums. One is what you think of as your typical, it's your street corner, your sidewalk, your public park, where people have the right to express their opinions and that type of thing in a general setting. But there's also something called a limited public forum. And a limited public forum is a forum where it can be limited to certain groups, or it can be dedicated to the discussion of certain subjects, but not necessarily allow to comment on any subject. And what the court held was that the meetings such as the Borough Council meeting is a business meeting, and therefore it is a limited public forum. And so people have the right to comment on matters that are limited to issues that are germane to the government, to the council, and to the meeting in question. And it's also proper to limit the amount of time that a person can speak so they don't dominate the meeting and take over. The court recognized that a public meeting is a business meeting and the council needs to accomplish certain things. With respect to the open meetings law, or what's colloquially known as the Sunshine Act, the Sunshine Act limits the content of public comment requirement to matters of concern, official action or deliberation, which are or may be before the council prior to taking official action. And the court held that that limitation is constitutional. It is consistent with the limited public forum requirement. So I just wanted to let folks know that that kind of limitation is appropriate and proper and has been upheld by the Third Circuit. So I just thought that would be helpful for you. Another thing I wanted to comment on, which I had not planned until I heard the comments tonight from Mr. Taylor. He indicated in his comment that he was filing an amended complaint in federal court, and he was including a claim under Title 18. Just so you know, Title 18 is the crimes code for Pennsylvania, so that's a state law, it's not a federal law. And it's also criminal law. So I don't know that the federal court will entertain those claims for that reason. It would not be a criminal case that he is bringing, and he would not have the authorization to bring a criminal action. You also mentioned Title 53. Title 53 is also a state law. And Title 53 is the section that governs municipalities, whether you're a borough or a township of the second class, a township of the first class, a city, that type of thing. And that's what those laws are. And then he mentioned Title 5 of the United States Code pertaining to open meetings. That would not govern borough actions. Federal law would govern meetings of federal agencies. but is our state open meetings law or sunshine law that would govern and regulate the council here tonight. If I am correct in my analysis, then if there is no claim under Title V of the United States Code, that means he would not have filed any federal claims. And if there are no pending federal claims, the court will not consider any ancillary state claims. And so therefore the entire complaint, all of those, or at least those matters, would be dismissed. So I just wanted to point that out to you so you have some sense here of the kind of legal issues and so forth that the court will be considering when it looks at the complaint that he files and any response that is filed on behalf of the borough. The other thing that you should know is that for many of these claims, the borough is likely insured. And so for that reason, the insurance company will likely appoint counsel, and it will pay for the cost of defending against the claims that are filed. So there's a deductible, I'm sure, that you folks have to pay, but after that, your professional fees would be covered by your insurance policy. So hopefully, whatever litigation ensues here will not have an untoward impact on your budget. So those are the matters that I thought I would share with you tonight.
Did the court make any comment about the types of language that can be used? Because we all got a dose of that a couple meetings ago from the same individual.
Yes.
Varieties.
Typically, it has to be content neutral in the sense that you can't say, well, only people speaking in favor of a proposal or against a proposal can speak. So in that sense, it's content neutral, but it has to be addressed to, the comments can be limited to matters that are pending before the council. And certainly the use of profanity and that type of thing can typically be regulated in a public forum.
It can.
Yes.
That doesn't fall under the First Amendment, right? To use
Correct, because it would not be germane to a matter before the council. So therefore, because it's a business meeting, the decorum requirements would be appropriate. So that way you can be treated with, you know, some level of respect and decorum in your meetings.
And your
And you deserve, as elected officials, you deserve to be.
I'll ask you for your suggestion, if that ever happens again, point of order, and ask the person to please refrain from using vulgar and profane language?
Well, perhaps. Like tonight, for example, he was not addressing something that was pending before the council for much of his comments about his complaint and that type of thing. So sometimes discretion is the better part of valor, and you just kind of let it go so that it doesn't inflame the situation. I think that you take that on a case-by-case basis, Mayor. And you kind of exercise judgment to try to see what is the best way to get through the situation in a way that is respectful to the public, respectful to you.
That's the key I was getting to, respectful to the public, because we had public that took their children out of council chambers when that started, the vulgarity and the profanity.
Yeah, so there.
Suggestion?
Yeah, when there's that level of profanity, you might want to take action to put a stop to it if you can. That's what. It's a case-by-case, situation-by-situation basis. There's no one-size-fits-all. You kind of exercise judgment and all of those things.
It's a little too quick to actually respond.
Hello, my name's Sam Johnson. I'm the chaplain from 7012. He's a part of. That's why I filmed what was going on. He does the same thing at our VFW meetings. He attacks, I think Ruby, is that your name? I can't remember your name.
Oh, mine?
Andy Bobby.
Andy Bobby.
Yeah, and Dave's the one I know the most, and he's always attacking them down at the club, and he's always attacking us during the meetings, members, and it's been going on at least over a year since he verbally attacked our bartender, female. So he's continued this on and on. And as a VFW member, I apologize for George Washington showing up tonight. I mean, he could have dressed like everybody else. I don't know what his deal is. I know he suffers from PTSD. He's been overseas. He's got family issues. And he's pretty much taking it out on Dave and Mr. Rock.
It may be helpful for you to know, in the context of things like the Americans with Disabilities Act and so forth, that courts have ruled that disability does not excuse bad behavior.
Right.
So, you do have a right to be treated with respect in your meetings as well.
But he becomes, in his discussions, he usually becomes very aggressive. It's not a thing where he just stands back like I am now.
Right.
If he disagrees, he becomes aggressive and he meets them outside. So that's what I'm hearing. And we have somebody at the club that shows up, which is a advisor from the state or the state president or whatever. They'll come down and inspect us and he'll see it. And it happens every time he's there. And he pretty much tells us what to do and he takes control of the meetings.
Yeah.
So you're not the only one putting up with him.
Mr. Tilley, you said that the use of profanity, so I would assume that also means the talking about sex acts that he did in one meeting.
Oh, yeah, that would not be appropriate. It would not be anything that would be covered by council for any reason like that. So, yeah, I mean, so what I'm trying to do is just provide you with a basic framework. I'm not going to be able to address every situation. You'll have to take that basic framework and that type of thing.
If his charges are dismissed, what's the term without prejudice when it's wiped out?
When it's wiped out, it's with prejudice. So a complaint or a lawsuit would be terminated with prejudice, which means that the claims have been finally determined and cannot be raised again.
So the deductible that the borough is on the hook for in paying all this once it's wiped out, we're now at a loss. Can the borough go and get it from him in payment? I mean, is that another court action? How do you get that money back that we lose by him bringing up these charges if they're found to be not legal and substantial?
I'll be honest with you, getting the money back is usually difficult.
Okay. Just wondering that.
There are ways that can be done, but sometimes it's as expensive to pursue it as it was to pay it in the first place.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So so you have that problem. There's also the delay, because a lot of times you have to get the favorable result before you can start any effort to recover the money that you spent to defend against the claims. So, and then of course you're just prolonging the litigation. And
right, I get it.
As a lawyer, I don't mind, but everybody else in the world does.
Costs more to get the little bit you lost. Yeah. We have some borough council members who have very fiscally mindset, and I think, wow, to something like this, if it was to, be found, completely, outrageous, it's a loss for us.
Yeah, and it's a shame, I mean, I will tell you that this is, I think, in my 40 years of doing municipal work, I think this is the first meeting that I have come to where there have been multiple candidates for volunteer positions. It shows the engagement that, your residents have and your investment in the community, and I congratulate you for that. It's really great. So it's a shame when there's one person or two people or something that are disruptive and interfere with that kind of community culture that you have developed here. But I do congratulate you on the good side. I want to congratulate you on that. And one other matter, Mr. Chairman, you provided me with this, which this is this that I have here is a statement that was drafted by Dave Jones, I think at the request of the borough, or at least some members of it, pertaining to an existing lawsuit that was filed by Mr. Taylor, and a criminal action that was filed by him earlier, I think in October, right? Something like that. That was dismissed. It was rejected by, I have the letter here from the district attorney that said that he found no basis for the criminal charges. But here's what Dave Jones wrote, and he's the regular solicitor, so out of respect for his position, I will read what he wrote. On November 12, 2024, Mr. Devin Taylor filed a lawsuit in the United States Federal District Court. The lawsuit named Andrew Bobby, Brian Ross, David Reisdorf, and Dennis Sarpin, all Borough Council members, as the defendants. The stated basis of the complaint was a violation of Mr. Taylor's civil rights at the October 21, 2024 meeting of the New Freedom Borough Council. You may recall I was present at that meeting and was giving advice to the council about his removal. After having been given a chance to speak during the public comment period of the meeting, Mr. Taylor continued to interrupt the business meeting of the Borough Council. Mr. Taylor was asked if he would stop from interrupting the meeting at least 2 times, and each time he indicated that he would not stop interrupting the meeting. It was only at that point that the Borough Council asked the police to remove Mr. Taylor. All actions of the Borough Council were taken under the advice of the Borough Solicitor, which was me on that day. Moreover, the Borough considers the action taken to be reasonable under the circumstances and permitted under the Pennsylvania and federal law for the reasons that I explained to you earlier. And the video of the meetings of the Borough Council are available for viewing on the New Freedom Borough website. Attached to the complaint, Mr. Taylor attached documents related to a private criminal complaint filed with the York County District Attorney. By letter dated October 10, 2024, the York County District Attorney's Office notified Mr. Taylor that due to a, quote, substantial lack of evidence to prove the elements of any of the offenses you wished charged against either Mr. Bobby or Mr. Reisdorf, your private criminal complaints are denied and prosecution will not be initiated, end quote. Further, Mr. Taylor attached a copy of an ethics complaint filed with the Pennsylvania State Ethics Commission against Mr. Reisdorf. While the investigations of the Ethics Commission are confidential, the Ethics Commission has not taken any action against Mr. Reisdorf. Because the defendants were sued in their official capacity as members of Borough Council, the Borough referred the matter to its insurance carrier, who has assigned legal counsel to defend the lawsuit. The named defendants and the insurance counsel intend to vigorously defend the allegations set forth in the lawsuit. Beyond this statement, the Borough does not intend to make any further public comment because the matter is in litigation. That's the statement from Dave Jones, your regular solicitor for the Borough. I think I've taken more than enough time.
Thank you very much. That was very important for us to know. We appreciate your guidance.
One clarification.
Yes, sir.
He was removed by a motion that we brought up.
That's correct.
There's an old saying that anybody could be sued by anybody for anything. That's what you're witnessing. Manager's report, sir.
All right, everybody has a copy of the January 2025 manager's report, as well as the monthly grant report, which has been updated as far as the hazard mitigation and the submission of the design of the stream restoration project that's noted in the noteworthy task. So I won't go through anything or everything that's listed on here. Obviously, January is a lot of closing out the end of the year, submitting a lot of annual reports to state agencies, and trying to get set up for the year ahead. So unless anybody has any questions, I won't take any more time.
Andrew, for the benefit of our council members and everybody else out here, can you give them like 25 words or less about what the implications of MS4 permitting are, since we're now involved because we're considered urbanized area, like New York City, for instance?
Right. So, as mentioned, the 2020 census indicates that parts of Shrewsbury, as well as all of New Freedom, is now considered an urbanized area. And what that triggers is qualification under the Pennsylvania MS4, which is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. That kicks in a whole new set of guidelines. It's going to be more than 25 words, sorry. It kicks in a whole new set of guidelines that the borough needs to meet throughout a 5-year permit cycle. The current permit cycle that's in place right now was a sediment reduction cycle. Luckily, based on the 2010 census, the borough was not considered an urbanized area, so therefore we were not in all those additional requirements. Looking at this draft permit, which is currently on DEP's website, they're looking for a volume reduction this time. So it's no longer nutrients, it's no longer sediments, it's about reducing the amount of volume that is put into the tributaries, into the waterways, leaving New Freedom, ultimately ending up in the Chesapeake Bay. That's the basis of a lot of this MS4 program, is pollutants to the bay, to the ocean.
So are they, I'm sorry, but are they basing then the volume, are they saying the volume equates to pollutants? Is that just their way around not having testing done? They're just saying gross volume? Or,
Yeah,
or is there a
again, a lot of-
specific reason for that?
Well, yeah, you're just removing the volume, the amount of water that's going through the waterways, ultimately catching more sediment, and you're polluting more, obviously, in that. So, should that permit go through, it will mean a whole new set of guidelines in the next 5-year cycle, which would start in, I believe, 2026, that we would have to comply with. The good news is we have been pretty proactive in making sure that all of our mapping, GIS mapping, is up to date. Public Works has been doing a lot of that as far as water, storm sewer, and sanitary sewer. That was another reason for the recent stormwater ordinance change. I know a lot of people didn't like that change, but ultimately this was just to prepare what we saw coming down the road, as well as making sure that we're taking a look at all of our outfalls, and there will be monitoring requirements that we'll have to meet as well in the permit cycle, should we receive that notice of intent. Basically, I guess a 25-word summary is, there will be additional regulations should New Freedom Borough receive that notice of intent. It's going to fall under a volume reduction requirement, and it will mean we'll have to put additional regulations in place.
It's like volume reduction applies to stormwater runoff from a property. If we're going to do something that's going to generate, it's going to produce an impervious surface where the water's going to come off where it didn't before.
Right. The number that was originally thrown out, and I didn't lock that down yet, was that the draft MS4 permit wanted to see that you only had 12% impervious area in your municipality. That's pretty much impossible, especially when you're looking at a developed borough or even a city, and even some larger townships. So that's going to be a challenging number to reduce volume.
Does the volume include our sewage effluent, or that's separate?
That's separate.
In my 40 years or so municipal work, when I started in the 1980s, the big thing was what they called the point source discharge, which was emphasizing wastewater treatment plants and cleaning the wastewater that was discharged. And what they found was that that did improve things, and, you know, we have all of these regulations now for wastewater treatment plants. But I also found that there was a lot of nutrients and things like that getting into the water from non-point source pollution, that is, just general water runoff. And so they are now implementing these regulations. So I'm living it twice, right? I first went through and heard all of these kinds of comments and complaints about people when they put in all the requirements for wastewater treatment plants, and now we're hearing it now for stormwater management, the same type of thing, but all geared toward the same end of, you know, trying to keep the streams and rivers free of these nutrients and so forth that deprive water from oxygen and things like that, and you know, create the problems.
Is the borough going to have to get into monitoring or permitting the use of fertilizer, i.e. lawn fertilizer?
It all depends what the requirements are, what the requirements are of that permit. Again, that I believe the focus is going to be not on nutrient and sediment, but a focus on volume control. But a lot of, my understanding again is a drastic increase in outfall monitoring. So it used to be a 1-inch storm, they're looking at 1/4-inch storm outfall monitoring, so.
I understand that our state senators are trying to change some of these things right now on the Hill. Whether they'll be successful or not, I don't know, but I know especially Kristen Phillips Hill is really looking at these MS4s. They're looking at the Susquehanna River Basin, yeah, the commission and the Maryland lawsuits, and trying to find that they're completely frivolous, and we need to do something to protect our citizens and our municipalities in Pennsylvania from being taken advantage of.
If there is monitoring, though, that means sampling, that means analysis, right? And it's not free. Somebody has to pay for it.
That's correct. Yeah, and right, and that's always difficult. I mean, obviously, residents here and the residents watching tonight, but to get the word out that these aren't regulations that New Freedom really has a choice in. These are regulations that the EPA is being challenged, which in turn, then they go to the state agency, which is DEP. The state agency goes to municipalities, and the municipalities are at the end of the residents are at the end of the line there of having to pay for these improvements and regulations, so.
I always encourage residents, if you're not in favor of some of these things that we can't control, get in touch with your legislators. It makes a difference, please.
Okay.
Did you want to?
Question, on the water sewer refuge past due, last month it was all hands on deck, everybody helping out in the office, and then here again. And when I came just as a resident, it's Victoria, right? She was hired specifically to address past due, getting that down. I was just wondering, how come others are being taken away from their duties to do what she was hired to do?
She's been on maternity leave for 12 weeks,
Nobody's told me that. Should we know that as a council member when people are extending leaves?
No.
I mean, if I would have known that, I'm like, okay, well, she's on maternity leave, so of course somebody has to step in and do that, but I've been seeing this and wondering, how come? How come, what's going on, that they would need to come away from their jobs to help her do hers? So maybe going forward, if people are gone extended times, to let council know? Okay.
That'll work. But that's quite a difference. I appreciate the
Yeah, it
effort.
definitely has gone down. When does she do back?
Wednesday,
What did she want?
a boy.
Did you want to lead us through this a little bit, or?
Yeah, unless anybody has any other questions on the manager's report or print report. Also included in your packet, just obviously it's unaudited. These are just the raw numbers out of QuickBooks.
Year-end financial report.
Yeah, year-end financial report. So what I did is broke out each fund, did a budget versus actual, and tried to explain where there were variances in the budget there. So you have one of those for each fund, as well as a profit and loss previous year comparison. So that gives you an idea of where that amount was at in '23 compared to '24 and the dollar change. That's not broken down by fund, that's every single account that we manage through the QuickBooks financial software. So it's a little, it's basically a sum total of all accounts on the income and expenses side. And obviously there's other factors in there. You know, when you're looking at projects and they carry forward to a year, the expenditures are changed. Or even if you're bringing something in from '22 to '23, it could have inflated that amount and then brought it back down for '24. If there's any questions on that, if this is something that you would like to see in the future, at the year end, let me know.
I think this is great.
A lot of
Gives us a
information.
wonderful synopsis of the year.
President's report. I think I just want to add one quick thing to what we've been talking about with Walt. Tonight, we heard a lot about the minutes. The minutes, as per Title 65 and per Robert's Rules, are supposed to include actions, motions, and decisions. They don't normally include, I mean, anybody can come in and have a stack of papers and say, I want this included in the minutes. Well, a lot of it's opinion, a lot of it's, you know, I mean, we can't become editors for everybody who wants to come in and put a bunch of stuff in the minutes. So our minutes are limited by law and by Robert's Rules to actions and motions and things that we get done and accomplish. So we don't put a whole bunch of other stuff in the minutes on a normal basis. Can be voted on if we feel that it's important, but normally not. I just wanted to add that to it. You have any disagreements with that?
No.
Okay. Mr. Mayor.
No, I think we had a few complaints on some property, and you and I had discussed that earlier. I haven't been able to find out as of yet any additional information, but my suggestion would be just to send a letter. That's something that's been going on in that area for a while, not only that particular residents, but a couple others that I think we've straightened out. It's not an easy process, and I did. I wasn't able to attend. Were you going to talk about the court case this morning? Okay, so I'll let you do that when you do that. I have not gotten any complaints. The only thing I did get, I know Main Street's a bear. We get anything. I know we did get some complaints about Main Street during the first storm, I guess. And I don't know what you can do. I appreciate you guys getting out, getting this lot for the police done, Constitution, so they can get out, and especially fire and EMS. That is so important. I can't emphasize how important that is and how much we I and they appreciate your first attendance to them, that they can get out when they need to. Sometimes it's not as much getting out as it is backing the equipment back in when they have a call. So Public Works, thank you very much. You did a wonderful job during that storm, and I'm sure you'll do a great job tomorrow night and the rest of the week, because it's not supposed to be pretty. Mr. Tilley, I appreciate your comments and your assistance in helping us. I always encourage you to speak up and don't let us get out of hand. Because we're not attorneys, and sometimes I think we're afraid of what we can and can't do, and we look to you and appreciate all your advice.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, because it's really what we can and can't do. And things happen like that, and by the time you decide, I should do something, it's already, the moment has passed, it doesn't make any sense to pull it back.
And
So-
anybody that's offended, I mean, they can call a point of order and ask the, calm things down, ask the president, a question, is this proper? And you're not offending anybody,
No.
is this proper for, to allow this to happen? If somebody talks about a non-agenda item, same thing. Point of order, this does not have anything to do with our agenda.
Well, it was addressed,
That would
it was
be,
addressed in the minutes. So,
Well,
that's
right.
the thing, so,
Yeah,
yeah, I
so-
understand, but I do appreciate what you're saying.
I don't hesitate, anymore. I've been pretty up on especially Jurassic rules and Parliament, and I won't hesitate in the future. I know everybody says keep quiet and let it go, and sometimes you can't let it go. Like I said earlier with Mr. Tilley, it's when it affects people here and their children, I think we need to take a stand. So I appreciate, and I'm sorry that you all have had to go through what you are going through. Other than that, I think I'm doing a wedding here Friday. I appreciate, I've cleared that with.
You and Denise are tying the knot finally?
Yeah, after 35 years. Matter of fact, today is our 35th anniversary.
Really?
Here I am.
Yeah.
That's all right. I took her to Pappas for lunch, so I think I'm in good graces. Roses and Pappas, that will do it.
Thank you.
So I appreciate everything that all of you do.
Sure, Stewartstown was a bit busy this past month. Bailey Suites, there was a purse theft person that was there. They were able to pick him up by a license plate reader in North Carolina. They had an OD, they had some other issues there. Chiefs had a lot of fraud in the area. New Freedom, it was home improvement. There's been credit card thefts, fraud, identity theft, immigration paperwork fraud. So I just wanted to stress, be alert to fraud in the area. And working towards a civil service to be formed. Question about that in a minute. Glen Rock went over a bit in its hours due to some incidences they had the last 3 weeks of December. They will be billed for all the hours that they went over. The meeting this month was postponed due to the snow and ice storm that we had, so that is going to be, I think it's the 18th is the Tuesday this month that would happen. But in the police commission meeting, Andy, you talked about reaching out to somebody for the civil service. That's why I asked in the beginning.
Yeah, we actually have two, Mike Sharkey had suggested Donna, and you were going, Danny, you were gonna talk to Donna, I think. You said she was in your neighborhood and I could call her, it's no big deal.
No, I'll talk to her again, but I mean, I didn't think she was interested, but I'll,
She got off with commission and she said that was pretty much
Yeah.
it. She was gonna,
And then we have one other person to reach out to. And
I thought in the beginning, you said there was already somebody?
there is our Adam, help me out,
Adam Laser
Laser.
is
Adam
on it
Laser actually is
currently.
on the Civil Service Commission
He
right
knows
now.
it?
He knows it, yeah, but he just, we've never called it up. So, I mean, he's been on it
We've never had.
for, now 2 years or however long they started it. I was gonna ask him if he is still interested, if he would continue.
Okay, if you can get that done before the next meeting and you can report back
I
on
will
me
absolutely do that, yeah.
with somebody.
Yep, I
What
would do that.
is the civil service?
Help with the hiring or any retirements or, you know,
Promotions.
issues in the department. It's a, they have to have training, they have to have background.
I have a name for you then. You'll already know who it is.
Sorry?
Talk to him?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll give you a name later.
okay, sure.
I do have one other question. You mentioned Bailey Crossing? Suites? Is that what people are calling the hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I keep seeing stuff about that around town, and I didn't know if that was what they were referring to as a hotel. All right, thank you.
the hotel actually in Sturgestown, they have like a bazillion gas meters. I mean, it's obviously set up for long-term. It's not set up as a hotel. And they're working on that from a zoning standpoint. But yeah, obviously it was never planned to be a hotel. It's basically, it's efficiency apartments.
Yeah, with individual meters.
Individual meters, everybody
That's
has a
their problem.
full-size refrigerator, and, you know, it's not like
What do
a
they call it, long-term
short.
stay?
Yeah,
Or
right.
short-term stay, long-term?
Yeah.
Short-term stay for
Whatever
a
you wanna
long
call
term.
it.
Erica, do you have any information about, did you say immigration fraud?
Yeah.
He didn't go into it, but that people were wanting money for immigration reasons.
Oh.
I don't know if they're finding them in some system and calling them.
Yeah. It's actually, they're preying on people who are here, maybe their green cards expired, maybe they're not here fully legally. So like I would call you and I would say, you know, I will help you get your papers. All you do is, you know, Venmo me $150 or whatever, and you do that, and then I just disappear. Anytime there's an opportunity to make $1 without doing anything.
I have a question for you, Eric. Look at New Freedom 4-week time and municipal totals. If you take our target and our total, that doesn't come out to 28.3. Am I reading that wrong? Our target was 672.28. The total was 669.97. That's only like 2 point,
Between actual and admin.
actual on admin add up to total. Target is 672. That's only maybe 2.2, but it says difference minus 2830. Why? Your reason?
That'd be the ongoing total.
Well, it shouldn't be if it's a 4-week time and municipal total.
But they're
I mean,
showing-
if you look at the yearly total at the bottom, that gives what our difference is for the year, but for the month of November, I'm not understanding that.
I can ask for you.
Thanks.
Anything else? Okay, engineer, report. Questions on the warehouse? Questions on ERA?
Marge Goodfellow, I have a question on that. That's second page, number 4. Revise master plan per the group's feedback and submit to contractors for cost estimates. Doesn't that come to council first?
It's just preliminary, just to get an idea.
Preliminary?
There's nothing formal, this is just. here's
How
this
much
one.
does that cost in addition to what we've already paid for the,
Several thousand on the treasury report.
That was all included in that lump sum that was approved. by-
it is.
Absolutely.
There's no additional fees for this type of
No, that was included.
estimates.
That master site plan and estimates and development was all included.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just to get an idea so that you come back and say, well, if it's broken out into this phase, they've researched and talked to contractors, they believe it's going to cost X, and this phase is going to cost Y, whatever the breakdown
I
is.
know, it's that X that bothers me. All right.
We have to have that number to go after any opportunities that might be down the road as well, so.
Anything else on engineering? Water report?
Who was it called that came in, water at the train years ago?
It was a false alarm.
Oh, do they have a water alarm for the,
You know, somebody saw it was wet outside the building, it was coming from the rain spout. And someone called and, I don't know if the person was even there. By the time I got down, they'd already looked at the railway station and nothing was there. And they were already moved on to the old feed mill where the train office is to see if something was going on there, and nothing was going there either, so. Somebody thought that there was a leak.
Another question, when you're coming out of Singer, going up to the stop sign to come to Campbell at the hairpin turn, the white line for the stop sign isn't there, and people just come up right to the corner and stop. You know, around the curve, they don't stop at the stop sign, they come.
All right, I'll stop.
Can that white line be put back there?
A stop bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could put a stop bar back,
Not doing that.
it's up to,
Not
it's up to
that
the
they're gonna
motorist.
listen, but at
Yeah,
least there's
yeah.
something there visually, like, hey guys, back here, not your bumper at the line on the road, where people are coming 40.
Yeah, we'll be able to get that in the
But we
spring.
have to, it wasn't.
the street cut out on North Constitution? I know that's,
Straight across?
I guess the gas, yeah, straight across, was that gas company?
Yeah.
Can that be temporarily filled in with some type of patch
We called
before
the-
somebody blows a
Fixed.
The
tire?
state knows about it, we called them already.
Lumber company,
That's
wasn't it
state-
fixed?
That's
It
state
just went
road.
down again.
Was that the state or was that gas?
Well, the gas company did the job, but the.
Shouldn't
state
they
road-
fix it?
Yes, but they have to go through PennDOT's protocol, it takes a while for them to.
In that amount of time,
So
we
they
can have
know about
40
it.
blown
Yeah, they do
tires.
know about it, yes.
So you guys can't just go out and put a quick patch across there, huh?
Try plowing it.
Huh?
Try plowing it.
I would hope that soon it should be taken care of. It usually doesn't take them too long after you notify them. So.
Okay, because Shrewsbury had the same problem going up Main Street, and they
That's pretty rough.
got on theirs right away. I don't know, I mean, that's a state road too,
Yeah.
and I think they just went out and did it. Okay.
Wastewater system? zoning and code enforcement?
I guess it might be a silly question, but you haven't heard anything from Brenda Tanner, have you?
I've attempted to make contact via email as well as phone, and I'm not getting any response either.
Today again.
Where's the code enforcement report?
Yeah, there's, I was having issue generating the reports from the software, so I will get that sent out. There was no update except on the code report. We did have the court hearing for the property that we've been dealing with for a while now. The owner was found pled guilty on 3 of the 4 charges. The 4th charge was the keeping of animals. The animals have been relocated. We did verify that last week before the hearing as well. The property owner was fined a total of $750 and given basically 90 days to clean everything up, at which time, if it's not cleaned up, we'll be back in front of the magistrate.
Does that fine come directly to us or through the magistrate?
It's a civil. The judge informed us today that we need to work with the property owner to collect that. That will not go through.
And what if they don't pay it?
Why is that? That's not normal, is it?
I didn't think it was. I thought well, maybe that's because it's civil. I don't know.
That's a new experience for me.
Okay, I just didn't expect
I've
that.
not had that situation occur before.
I'll have to look into that one for you. This sounds new to me too, so.
Right, the option there is to
Maybe
file
lien
the
the property.
writ of execution and then file a lien if they do not pay.
I mean, did she have him pay for our
There are court costs.
court costs and
But
everything?
it was a civil complaint, which is how we were directed to file.
Well, so does Judge Judy, but she makes them pay it.
We were directed to file civil complaints by the district magistrate, and that's what we did. So the costs associated were just the filing fee, or I'm sorry, no filing fee, it's just the cost to serve, which is postage. And that will be paid for and tackled into the defendant's bill.
Who's the district magistrate?
Judge Sweeney.
Does that sound right to you?
No, it doesn't sound right to anybody.
I'll have to take a look into it.
I saw something else. Where did the logo go on the little white car on the door?
That's on me. I took it off when we decorated for the parade, and I need to put it back on. That's on me.
I saw you on 851 getting out on flashers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no one you almost could get hit, and 2, there's no logo on the door. Yeah.
Going out of town.
You were getting like out, like you were gonna go take pictures of it. It was in the area of fish.
the
It looked
swale.
like you were gonna
Yeah.
go out there
Yeah,
and do
the
something.
four ways were on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, but.
Okay. Subdivision and land development. Recreation.
But before we get started, I'll announce that tomorrow's meeting is canceled because of the weather. So, some highlights from some of the events that are going on. I think we touched on most of these last time. Summer playground program, that's a 4-day-a-week. It's going to run for a couple weeks during the summer. Free speaker series. The last one that had happened was January 22nd. Coming up on June 1st is a 16-mile rail trail trek. This one just happened on January 26th. It was the teen puzzle competition, and was it Channel 2, I think it was?
ABC.
ABC? I think that's
27.
Okay. There was a news team that was covering that. If you go back and find that, that was interesting. There's gonna be a pickleball tournament on March 23rd. That's a round robin mixed doubles pickleball tournament. That'll be out at the community center. The adult Easter egg hunt, that'll happen on April 12th. Trip to Italy. If anybody's interested in that, there's a lot of information. I think she's having a meeting coming up, I believe a planning meeting. Of course, the Music in the Park series, that'll be happening throughout the summer. And February, they're gonna have a maple sugaring program. Just an update on some winter programs. They had 82 participants in the line dancing program and 61 registered participants for pickleball. The pickleball class itself has already reached its full capacity, and there is a waiting list. And I'd like to congratulate Gina on her completion of her playground safety certification. So she's now certified to go out and inspect all the playgrounds. Anybody, any other questions?
Summer playground program, when is that? You don't have when it is, it's just that it's 4 days away.
Yeah, if you give me a minute, I can look up.
Is that June, July, and August?
I believe so, yeah. I had the flyer and I took it to the other night when I met with some scouts. I thought maybe they would be interested.
All right, I have another question. I understand that Gina's gone ahead and somebody's got allergies. That Gina's gone ahead and done away with the pickleball program for June, July, and August.
Nothing that Gina had mentioned to me.
Well, she mentioned it to the pickleball players that they would not have pickleball June, July, and August.
Okay.
That is a little
Was that
disheartening since
was that
we,
in an email or was that?
it was posted.
Posted where?
She showed up at the pickleball, she showed up there and then posted it. Told them there would be no pickleball during the summer, June, July, and August.
So this is the last copy of the schedule that I have. Summer schedule, June, July, and August. Monday, 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Tuesday, 6 to 8 a.m. Wednesday, 6 to 8 a.m., 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It was on the list 2 sessions on Thursday and 1 more session on Friday.
That was what they had until she showed up one day last week. And she said it was, the pickleball was canceled for June, July, and August.
That's posted up there?
I'm pretty sure it's posted. She
online.
actually showed up.
It's still listed online.
That doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of things that have been listed online that don't get taken down. I'm sure they're
Okay,
not
well,
having.
we'll look into it, because that's.
There's some people that are very upset. They're upset to begin with that it was changed to 6 o'clock, but now their thinking is, from what she said, that it's completely canceled for the summer.
I will follow up with her, but I severely doubt that.
It didn't sound right to me, since, you know, that's a nice income.
Yeah, we'll follow up. It's just like, okay.
I had
And
asked,
since there's no, I'm sure they were gonna, I'm sure they were gonna show up at the meeting, and I would suggest that if you can't have a meeting, that you do maybe a follow-up meeting, because we've missed, what, 2 out of the last 3 meetings, maybe
We
you
were talking about
can't
that
have
earlier.
it.
I mean, they could even do a Zoom meeting, or, you know, or whatever. I mean, you know.
Or have it another week, you know, that, like council does the same thing. If we, for some reason, can't do it,
Well,
we have
even
an
the police,
emergency
even the police
meeting.
commission, I mean, we scrapped one, but do you guys have a alternate
Alternate
date or a
date,
continuation meeting date?
No, not unless we need
Yeah.
to schedule one.
Because once you start getting into 2 and 3 missed meetings, we're way in the,
Yeah, I'm trying to find your, So June, so you wanted the dates?
I think it's June, July, and August.
Not for the pickleball, for the summer playground.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
All right, it's June 9th through the 12th, June 16th through the 19th, June 23rd to the 26th, June 30th through July 3rd, July 7th through 10th, and July 14th through 17th.
Nothing in August. It's June and
June
July.
9th,
I think
and it runs
originally it was
through July 7th.
June, July, and
4 days a
August,
week.
okay. Well, if you'd look into that, I'd appreciate it.
I certainly will.
And had repeatedly asked for monthly, what happens, like what programs, how many people attended, and how much they brought in. And just like, Excel spreadsheet, something like that.
But the second and third page would be
Well, that,
efficient.
well, it just tells me about a program. I don't know how well attended it was. I don't know if it was maxed out. Don't know if it brought in $5, if it was free, if it brought in $500. Don't know. So that could be resolved. How often do we get the Keystone grant? How often does that come in through the year?
We had originally requested a couple months, and we were advised by DCNR that we need to keep that basically to a 6-month request, rather than every quarter or every 2 or 3 months.
So every 6 months.
So this year is it 70? How much comes in this?
But it'll go equal to April because of the start time.
But the total grant, 100% this year that we'll get is how much?
It'd be 100% of the salary that was set.
The 65,000?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, the first year was 65, and then it's 75%, 50%, 25%. It's a little weird though, because we're, like I said, we're running that April to April schedule rather than running a calendar year or even a nonprofit fiscal year. So it's gonna create some discrepancies as you're looking at the budget.
I was wondering, because if, the total income, April to December, 81,000, but just to have her was 82,000, just to have her, to have a rec director, which only left 14,000 from April to December, and it ends in net income and then the negative of 15,000, but then the Keystone's put on there for 25, and so it was kind of like wonky kind of math. Do you really have that 25,000 now, or it's gonna be coming in April, or?
It'll be, so we have to file the end of year report, and I believe, I think we have to go in through January to do that 6-month, and I can't remember the exact date on that, but that's basically accrued income.
So it's coming. So right now, it's in the negative. Net income is in the negative
For the first.
until it comes, until this grant comes.
Correct.
Okay,
For
and this
April
grant
through December.
could come, this grant could come, I guess, in April. You said April to April?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, till we make the request, I think every time you make a request, you have 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the payment schedule of the state.
Okay. And you're gonna make that request every 6 months, and then it'll be 6 to 8 weeks.
Give or take, yes.
And
Yeah.
it might come in. And so, this April, you'll make the request, and then October, you'll make the request, so April, October,
If that all aligns, yeah, it'll be
6
somewhere around, yeah,
months-ish?
yeah.
Okay. And again, that's why I asked what programs are being run each month, to just have it on paper, to see it, to see, a lot of great things I hear are going on. I want to see how well they're doing, the money it brings in. This is the citizens' money that's being spent, and to make decisions, we need to know how well this program's doing.
Keep in mind, this is we're still in a startup situation. That's why we have a 4-year grant, because they
Yeah.
figure it's gonna take, couple of years to get it going.
I understand that, but we're a year in, and I still don't have any information like that I've been asking for. I still don't have it, so just asking for it. You know? So as a elected official, to make good decisions. And I hear some of the programs are doing great, and that's great.
Anything else on rec?
I don't believe so, no.
Do you have anything on EMS and fire funding? Y'all got, did we all get?
Well, fire funding, I think you saw in the financial statement. EMS, again, here we go again. Maryland backed off a little bit. We had 16 calls in Maryland, 9 in Cadorus. Let me get down. 9 in Cadorus, 12 in Glen Rock, 24 in Hopewell, who doesn't contribute at all. 16 in Maryland, 34 in New Freedom, 1 in Railroad, 11 in Stewartstown, Shrewsbury Borough, again 53, and Shrewsbury Township, who's a #1 responder, or respondee, 61. We had a Springfield Township, and then 1 other. We missed 3 calls in Shrewsbury Borough, 9 in Shrewsbury Township, and 6 in New Freedom. Again, all of those were covered through mutual aid because we were either out on other calls or for some reason down and missed a couple of calls. All in all, I think they've been doing a great job. The chase truck has been a wonderful advantage overall for every community, and that's been working well. Meeting is Thursday night, so I'll have a little bit more information. I think you all got an invitation to the banquet in March. I would like to see everybody there if you could.
Is that the community center?
Yes, they decided to have it at the community center this year after looking at a couple of different places. So please, if you can, show them, help to show our gratitude for everything that they do, which is a lot.
I have a question. I don't know if you'll know the answer or not. How often do they deploy the chase truck and the ambulance together? Is that a normal thing?
Well, what may happen is because of the paramedic, there's a paramedic in the, hopefully, there's a paramedic in the chase truck. So if they have a BLS call, or an ALS call, and there's another call, perhaps fire will respond, police will respond, but the chase truck then, because it has a paramedic, and that paramedic can administer meds or whatever, the hospital, you know, when they call the hospital and report in, hey, I've got a patient with this, blah, 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 you know, give them this or this or this, they can't just do it. It saves lives.
Yeah,
It saves lives.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure they don't do it needlessly.
And they will also go along on a call, and if another call comes in, they may leave. And they may also leave and take, it might just be an EMT in the chase truck, and they may bring the paramedic back with them so that they're in the area while BLS just does a transport. Everybody know ALS and BLS, okay. Because there's a difference. ALS is generally a paramedic that needs to be on scene.
Okay, I was just wondering.
We have had, it's been a terrible month. People have been sick, breathing problems, falls galore. This flu has really taken a toll, especially over at the Spirit Trust, the cottages, those people, and there with the courtyards. These guys, they've been busy. But I don't know that I gave you a total of all the calls. Gee, it gives me a total. Yeah, total calls 225, missed calls 18. They handled 270 calls last month. That was in January.
Are we, you have anything on the rental housing?
Yes, Andrew and I have gone over a couple of things. We have a meeting scheduled Wednesday afternoon to finalize that ordinance. We're back and forth taking some things out, putting some things in. We want it to be as simple as it possibly can. We don't want it to be ultimately intrusive, but it's basically there to protect it's not just to protect the lessee, but the lessor, both, and so that they know what we as a borough expect of them in taking care of citizens, because some of these people, they live in an apartment for 10, 15 years. And we want them to know that they're secure and they have somebody that can back them up. And not just, complain to the landlord and he says, you don't like it, get out. No, they've got rights and we want to make sure they.
My uncle rented a house when he got out of the service, when he was like 22. And he passed away in that house at 84.
There you go.
Same house.
There's some people that they never own, they always rent, and we need to protect those people because we are getting more and more renters. We're getting more and more single homes that are being rented out, second floor, first floor, or the entire house, where mom and dad both pass away, the kids get it, they don't want to sell it, so they'll rent it out. We've got a lot of those. And this will also, another thing I want to talk to Andrew about, whether we can combine our current ordinance that requires registration into this, or keep them separate. That's another thing I want to talk to him about, because I think that's important. We don't have an accurate registration currently, and I want to make sure that that gets done.
Those rentals comply with zoning ordinance?
They will.
Like if you,
That's a part of the ordinance that we're developing, that they must comply with the IMPC. What, you don't like that?
no, I'm just saying if it's supposed to be a single-family house and a single-family zoning and
No, this is more for multiple dwelling, I think, right, Andrew, that we're looking at? That's what we were originally looking at. We don't have to. We can look at single rental units also if you're thinking that.
Well, let's wait until next week or next month.
Yeah, no, he and I have a meeting Wednesday afternoon. We just had problems crisscrossing, getting a meeting before now, but we should have hopefully an ordinance drafted by next week or next month. Forward that to Mr. Tilley and see what he thinks.
Correspondence, I don't think there is any here. What are we gonna do?
This is correspondence. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
the annual report from the York County Office of Emergency Management.
Where did old business go?
Huh?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, yeah. Did I skip it? Unfinished business?
Oh.
Yeah, we did, huh?
Old business. Maybe I'll take another.
I had a question. I was confused on information you sent out this week. You build propane tanks yourself? Can you give me information of each one happened? They were gone, I've seen that they're gone, I thought, okay, they're complying. It sounds like they're not complying. Without force.
We asked multiple times over the last 2 years. They were gone, they came back, we asked and documented that they be removed. Council included it in the new lease. That did not happen as of the new lease date, so they were removed from the premises. The tenant has since then reobtained ownership or possession of those tanks and the storage cabinet and taken them off-site.
Taking them off-site.
Correct.
So we're not in possession of any of Tasteful Occasions equipment or merchandise or anything?
Correct.
Tempted to make a motion that we send them a bill for $200.
I was gonna say, what-
Be removing their stuff, and so they'd be. in
What was
compliance.
the
I
fee
know
for
you just-
doing that?
I
mean, that's just-
frustration. We made
Well, it
clear.
took time, a lot of time over the last 2 years expended by the council and the office.
At this point, it's resolved. I think the point has been made that when we ask for something like that and it's included in the lease, it needs to be adhered to.
And if it, there's really no provision in the lease though, to charge them for something that we have to do. Yeah, I mean, if it happens again, I'd like to see them billed.
Well, once again, it would be default of the lease.
Okay, I'll buy that too.
On the record,
Yeah, serious. That's not right. That's just taking advantage of that. I'm assuming in your report, you said you had been working on the lease for the senior center. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll bring that up.
Oh, absolutely.
When's that due?
January 30th of this year expires.
Okay, oh, so
we're
we've
gonna
got
have
plenty
that.
of time.
We're,
Or
we
we,
met with the senior center and a couple of the board representatives last week, I believe, and so we just have a couple of tweaks, obviously, to the term. They would like to take back possession of room 201, which they flip-flopped last time, so they need that additional room back. We want to make sure we're documenting all the square footage properly again, so we're going to remeasure all that. And then, a couple of clauses like the force majeure clause that we added in the tasteful occasions, those kind of things we want to make sure are included in that. So it's pretty much a mirror image of the tasteful occasions lease minus, obviously, the rooms and the terms. They will be, they are asking for a 5-year term, just to have that assurance
Yeah.
that they'll be there for that time period, so that's going to be a provision that they're going to ask for.
you said January?
Did I say January?
Yeah, you said January. I thought they go by,
I
we
meant
go by
June.
their fiscal year.
I
Yeah,
meant June,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
June 30th.
okay, that gives us plenty of time. Then when you said January 31st, I thought,
No, it's not fall.
okay.
and just so it's documented, because the office had to take action, and I asked about it in the minutes that I inquired right now about this, and the office had to remove them, and they're off premises now.
They're all from any of our premises.
They're on, yeah, so
Offsite
it was talked
storage.
about in here that you took them, well, they've taken ownership, and, going forward, it's a violation of the lease that have our minutes. For reference, not to say you still have his tanks or something, his equipment or something.
Public comment on anything else?
I have a question. I heard you had emailed Brenda Tanner and no response, phone, no
Call.
response. What's the next step? It's been a while now.
Yeah, I mean,
The car's still there.
We can't, we obviously can't physically remove the car off the property. The last conversation that I did have with her, which I believe was before November, late November, early December, was that she was trying to obtain the title for that car to be able to transfer it over to a charity.
She told us that.
Yeah, but the title, it was in her ex-husband's name.
And he's deceased.
And he's deceased, so that was, she was having to deal with PennDOT to obtain the title to be able to get rid of it. As far as any painting, at the time, she told me that that would be taken care of as soon as it gets a little warmer, and obviously, we understand that.
Is it registered, licensed, and inspected?
No.
No.
Then why can't we remove it?
It's on private property.
Mr. Tilley?
Yeah, you have a right to remove abandoned property, so I would get Dave to take a look at that for you, because there's an abandoned vehicle statute.
I believe we were told last time we didn't have, but we'll check.
Yeah,
I,
maybe it's only on the street that you can do it then.
well, I know.
So, and you have to cite them and get a court order to have them remove it. So that would probably be what you'd have to do then under a property maintenance code.
Yeah, sure. Because, I mean, they're not allowed to keep it on
Yeah.
in the yard, and we can, I thought for sure it said that we removed it.
Just take a look into that. Get Dave to work on that for you. See what Jason said.
That would be any IPMC, right? Zoning?
Cars are in the safety and zoning.
Wouldn't be in zoning.
Yeah, it's in the international property maintenance code,
Yeah.
that any,
Really?
it doesn't say
Non-registered.
registered, it doesn't,
No,
it says licensed. Any unlicensed or abandoned vehicle is a violation. It's in the exterior property section.
Well, licensed and registered is the same thing in Pennsylvania.
There's been arguments against that.
Oh, no. I just got pulled over for not having my car registered, and I wondered, how did you know that? We don't use stickers. He ran the plate, and it came back, unregistered vehicle.
What did you do to get your plate run?
We'll visit you.
Hmm?
We'll visit you.
No, he was a very nice officer.
Motion,
Move we adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody. Are you gonna use that,
Yeah.
I have that copy of the, statement. I'm gonna put it in my bag.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I think oh, no, it did perfect too. Yeah, that was great.
We actually had to bump the other little section of the bottom to the next page. It looks like it's together for all the rooms.
Oh, no, that was okay, because I just have that there and it's filled in.
Oh, good.
Suffers back.
I didn't know that you could do it. You know, I think the other thing was in the form.
I mean, if you have like,
Hey, Blue Devil.
if you have other events.
Good, yeah, that's done.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to you because I have some stuff. We're trying to facing do the events.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot, but it was like I say, keep watching.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah. A little long, but thank you.
I have to walk out. But I'll call you.
Whoever